Hey guys, what's going on? So today I have the next part of my CD collection. So we're in my favorite part of my CD collection actually. Just all the great fucking brutal death metal bands who start with the letter D for some reason. Like my top 5 death metal bands all start with D. Fucking Disgorged Devourment, Dying Fetus, Defeated Sanity, Deeds of Flesh. It's so weird. But anyways, in the background we're listening to Brodigan's Festival of Death, classic Pingy Snare goodness. So yeah. So first up, we have the first 2 releases by Deaden, legendary, or I don't know if I'd say legendary, but pretty well known, less surface level brutal death metal band. So we got their demo, Feast on the Flesh of the Dead, and then their debut full length, Hymns of the Sick. Both really good releases. I can't decide which I like more. I think the demo has better atmosphere, but the full length has slightly better musicianship and songwriting. But anyways, these were both put out through United Guttural. This was originally obviously a tape, which had a different cover, which is on the disc I'll show in a minute. But gore cover, not the worst gore cover ever, sorry. There's some really bad stuff in here, so I'll give you guys a warning. But there's some bonus live tracks from Ohio Death Fest 1999 on here. I don't usually listen to the live tracks. I'm not a big bonus track kind of guy, but this is what the original disc, or not disc, this is what the original cover art looked like on the OG press, like, cassette of this demo. But yeah, just, if you don't know Deaden, just imagine Lividity, but like a lot less horny and a lot more fucking, like, serial killery, I guess, I don't know. But a lot of great samples on here, especially from like The Exorcist 3. The outro track is from Exorcist 3, and also Lying in a Ditch, that's the best song on here. Amazing build up from the sample at the beginning and the clean guitar part, and it builds into some parts with just some really good trem riffs and stuff. I think that picture of Vaughn is really funny. There's another funny picture of Vaughn in the other album I'll show in a minute. But Vaughn ended up, funny I mentioned Lividity, Vaughn ended up being in Lividity later on. But yeah, similar style band, just really meat and potatoes sort of brutal death metal. A little more leaning towards the old school kind of side. It's not the most brutal ever, but it's definitely some of the darkest and most like depraved and evil sounding. But yeah, Skin of Sores also, that song has a really cool like pinch harmonic riff. It sounds really just creepy and fucked up. But yeah, Deaden, Feast on the Flesh of the Dead. Really good album for when I want to hear some like just really dingy sounding, creepy brutal death metal. And then I'm sure you guys have all seen Hymns of the Sick in your fucking YouTube recommended when you're first getting into brutal death metal. I mean, I know I did, and eventually I listened to it and it ended up being really good. Still pretty meat and potatoes, but the musicianship got a little better on here, I'd say. A lot tighter of a release, obviously, because it's not a demo, much better production. But there's the cover, really weird looking. Like I said, also put out through United Guttural. The first song on here, Ejaculation into a Rotting Orifice, that's easily the best one on here. But John's List is another good one. Butchered Whore, Stretched, great songs on here. I really like the disc on this one. I don't really know why, but it just looks really cool to me. There's a really crazy gore image in the tray, really fucked up. I'll censor most of it with my hand, but you guys gotta see this shit. If you are bothered by gore, leave now, because this is really bad. But it's this chick, like, impaled with a broom. It's fucked. But some of the most crazy shit they could have chosen for the tray of the CD, and I wouldn't change a thing, honestly. Band photo. There's some more gore images in the booklet, so, but you got all the lyrics. You know, pretty typical late 90s brutal death metal sort of lyrics, obviously. You know, gore, fucking sexual shit. Oh, there's the picture of Vaughn. I don't know what it is, but he looks really funny there, that face. But yeah, really cool shit though. I need to I need to check out their second full length, the last thing they ever put out. I haven't listened to that one, and if it's good, I should probably get a copy, because then I'll have all their shit. But yeah, Deaden are really cool. They're not my favorite brutal death metal band ever, but, you know, they are really good, just meat and potatoes. Like, it's one of the most late 90s, this is one of the most old school brutal death metal bands, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it. Like, when you think of, like, late 90s Midwest brutal death metal, this is, like, one of the first bands. Like, these guys and, like, Lividity, Regurgitation, Flesh Grind, that type of stuff always comes to mind for me. But yeah, Deaden, good stuff. Next we got one of my favorites, Decrepit Birth with And Time Begins. I know most people know Decrepit Birth as a fucking tech death band, and I think their tech death stuff is also pretty damn good, especially the album after this. I forgot what it's called. A lot of people act kind of too cool for school about tech death, but I think Decrepit Birth are a great band, and this is the only thing I own from them. This album is great though. It's more like technical brutal death metal, pretty similar to like Disgorge, Consume the Forsaken, but it's a little more melodic, has some slightly progressive sort of tendencies to it. I actually have a flag of this album cover with the Seagrave art on the other side of my room, but I'm too lazy to show. But this was put out through Unique Leader in their like 2003, I want to say. And I mean, if you know what early Unique Leader stuff sounds like, you'll know what this sounds like. You know, slightly cleaner production, a lot of blast beats, scooped mids on the guitars, really technical. One of my favorite, the early Unique Leader stuff is arguably my favorite style. Arguably my favorite style of death metal. But yeah, love listening to this one though. It's just got a really like, this is such a cringy way to describe music. It's got a really like apocalyptic sort of sound to it. I don't know. It sounds like the album cover. Just really fucking fast technical stuff. I mean, Condemned to Nothingness, The Infestation, Rebirth of Consciousness, the title track, one of the best brutal death metal songs ever written. And Concepting the Era of Genocide, I wish that was the album opener, that interlude that goes before the title track. That would, because it really sets the mood for the title track. But I feel like if they had that at the beginning of the album, it would have been perfect. Because I've seen live videos where they play that at the beginning of their set, and it's like so sick. I don't know, it'd be cool if they had that in the beginning of the album. Just my opinion. I don't know. I think about that with track listing a lot of the time with albums, just like if things were rearranged. But yeah, Decrepit Birth, And Time Begins. Next up, we got all my Deeds of Flesh stuff. I have everything up to and including Reduced to Ashes, but I need to get Crown of Souls. The Tech Death era Deeds stuff I don't care about as much, so I probably won't get. But first up, Gradually Melted. I've got I think this was either a 97 or 98. I want to say it's 98. Yeah, 98. 98 reissue with the redone art, the John Zig art. I actually like this art as much, if not more, than the original art, honestly. I know that might be blasphemous to some. The newest reissue with that redone art, it looks fucking terrible. But this one is really good, in my opinion. Love the side text there. It's one of my favorite parts of a lot of brutal death metal CDs. It's like the bold text in the side of the CD. But yeah, what can I say about this though? I mean, Deeds of Flesh is one of my favorite bands, and in my opinion, this is the best brutal death metal EP ever made. Feelings of Metal Through Flesh. Fucking, that song will blow your head off. It's so good. I don't know why for some reason they put on this reissue, they put the lineup that the band was at the time instead of the lineup that played on this EP, which is weird, but yeah. Although they have a picture of like the lineup when this first came out in '94. You have all the lyrics. But yeah, Feelings of Metal Through Flesh, that part of that song with the highs when they're like insane thoughts of suicide brought to life, and then there's the bass break. That part of the song is so fucking good. But yeah, can't go wrong with this. Deeds of Flesh, Gradually Melted. Then after that, of course, we have the first thing I ever heard from them, and I'm sure this is the first thing most people ever heard from Deeds of Flesh. Trading Pieces, their debut full-length. Sometimes it's my favorite, and then, I don't know, like, my favorite Deeds of Flesh album for the past couple of years has kind of shifted between 3 albums. I could say for the most part this one has been my favorite. I wouldn't say it's my favorite right now. It's like probably my second favorite, but it's a really close second. But I love this album so much, though. I just have the Unique Leader reissue with the remaster. The original mix sounds way better, but the remaster doesn't sound bad. They just made the guitars louder and the drums and vocals quieter. There's the disc. Water Damage booklet, because I remember I had this CD on my desk and I had a bottle of water there, and one of my cats fucking got water all over this. So that was really disappointing. But you got all the lyrics. I mean, some of the lyrics to the songs on this album are just burned into my mind. Like the title track, like modified corporal carnage to assume the shape of a madman's disposition to be displayed. Like, I can't not do vocals along to this album when I listen to it. But yeah, this is just a masterpiece. Really pushed the boundaries of the genre at the time, not only in terms of brutality, but also just in terms of technicality and how angular the songwriting was. I mean, yeah, for 96, this shit was insane. Like, the fact that you had, like, this, and then, like, None So Vile, and then Purification Through Violence all in the same year, it's just fucking crazy. But yeah, I love this album so much, Trading Pieces by Deeds of Flesh. And then we have what's probably my favorite from them right now. It was my favorite at one point, then it stopped being, then I kind of burnt myself out on this album for a while. And then now I'd say it's probably my favorite again, Inbreeding the Anthropophagy. This is the most insane thing they ever made. It's their most technical, it's their most brutal. In my opinion, it might be their most energetic, right next to Gradually Melted. I mean, just listening to this album just really pumps me up and makes me fucking energized. But yeah, batshit fucking crazy. The vocals on this album just sound maniacal. Also, I love that band photo right there. This shit's sick. Love the album cover too. One of my favorite pieces of John Zigart, if not my favorite. But yeah, Canvas of Flesh. Infecting them with falsehood. The classic like chorus in that song with the "Bring your children, let me kill them." I mean, such a sick fucking lyric. Love the ghost face Majewski art, really cool. I actually have a hoodie with that as the back print. Yeah, super technical. Technical in terms of like the songwriting. I mean, these songs are like physically difficult to play. Like the re-recording of the Gradually Melted title track on here is so fucking fast. But yeah, I love this shit. Just arranged in such a creative way. The songs are arranged in a really creative way, but like everything is set up so perfectly. Like sometimes like a high will come in at like the perfect spot. And it's just so satisfying to listen to. And also there's some guest vocals from Maddie Way on here, which is also sick. But yeah, can't say how much I love this album, man. Deeds of Flesh, Inbreeding the Anthropophagy. Then we have Path of the Weakening, of course. This one was a little bit of a grower for me. At first I remember hearing it and just be like, it's just another Deeds album. It's still good, but wasn't my favorite thing ever. But over time I realized this album has kind of like a blackened sort of undertone to it. You know, it's a little more melodic. Nowhere near as brutal as Inbreeding or Trading Pieces or Gradually Melted. It still sounds just like Deeds of Flesh. I mean, they have an unmistakable sound, but really good album though nonetheless. I know this is a lot of people's favorite, and I can see why. It's kind of a one-off in their discography. They don't really have anything else that sounds a lot like this album, but cool band photo as well. But there's some great songs on here, like Summarily Killed is probably my favorite, but of course the title track, Indigenous to the Appalling, Executing the Anthropophagy. I like how they bring back like themes from previous songs. I Die on My Own Terms. Really good album. Then what I said about Path of the Weakening is kind of more true for this album. What I said, I thought of it when I first heard it. Mark of the Legion. This one kind of is just another Deeds of Flesh album. But it's still really good. You know, it still sounds like old school Deeds of Flesh from their classic era. This is their 4th album. And just great discography. I mean, fuck, what, 6 albums and an EP of like gold, man. Not the coolest album cover, but there's some art in the booklet that I think is way better. That I don't know why they didn't make the album cover. But this one's got some great songs though. Cleansed by Fire, Ideal Genocide, Drink the Blood, Fulfilled in Warfare. Yeah, this one has more of like an epic sort of sound to it. Kind of similar to Path of the Weakening, but it's not quite as dark sounding. But yeah, probably some of the beefiest production on a Deeds album. I'm used to really trebly production, but this one's got a little more of a warm sort of sound to it. I wish they made this artwork, the album cover, I think is way cooler. But what can you do? But yeah, I don't listen to this one nearly as much as the others, but it's still very good, and I will throw it on from time to time. And I should probably listen to it more. I'm sure I'd grow to appreciate it more, but I still think it's a great album from them, though, nonetheless. So Deeds of Flesh, Mark of the Legion. And then the last thing I have from them, I need to get Crown of Souls, but Reduced to Ashes. This one was my favorite from them at one point as well. Fucking absolute masterpiece. This kind of combines elements from all the albums before it. It's got some of the blackened sort of aspects of Path of the Weakening. Brings back the really trebly thin production from the early releases. This one even has like a pingy snare, which is really cool. And some of their best songwriting and some of the most memorable songs they've ever written, like the title track, Infested Beneath the Earth, Avowed Depraved, that's my favorite song on here, Imperium, and then of course you have the Endurance, which is like a 10-minute song, which is very rare for brutal death metal, but that song, it doesn't feel like it's 10 minutes, it just feels like another Deeds of Flesh song. But cool album cover. There's the back. If you're new to Deeds of Flesh, this actually isn't a bad place to start because it's still their signature sound, and this has some of their catchiest sort of songs. These songs are a little more hook laden than usual, but they're just as technical, which is really impressive in my opinion. Because it's kind of hard to write stuff this technical that's super hook laden, but on this album in particular, they really pulled it off. It's a lot of melodic sort of hooks with the trem riffs. Great vocal patterns. Some of the songs in here have choruses, like Infested Beneath the Earth does. But yeah, great album. Deeds of Flesh, Reduced to Ashes. Love this one. This one's probably like my third favorite, I suppose. Next up, we got albums from Defeated Sanity. I don't have all their stuff on CD because 2 of their albums I have on vinyl. The debut, Prelude to the Tragedy, I've got that one on vinyl. But their Sophomore, which is my absolute favorite from them, and in my top 5 favorite death metal albums of all time. Psalms of the Moribund. Love this one. It's like if you took the template of like Disgorge, Consume the Forsaken, and added like some progressive, jazzy sort of stuff, and made it arguably even more fucking brutal. But yeah, one of the, probably my second favorite brutal death metal album of the 2000s. This was a reissue put out through Grindthetic Digipack, but it's a nice Digipack though. It's not like a really flimsy one. It's got like a matte sort of feel to it. But yeah, man, the slam in Fatal Self-Inflicted Disfigurement gets me fucking every time. I love that shit so much. Lily Gruber, best drummer in the entire genre in my opinion. I mean, he's like if you mixed somebody like Ricky Myers from Disgorge with Flo, with like the technical ability and flashiness of somebody like Flo from Cryptopsy, just insane. Every song on here I fucking love. Super maze-like song structure, but with some really good chugs and hooks and stuff. Yeah, it's just a masterpiece. Defeated Sanity, Psalms of the Moribund. Then Chapters of Repugnance, which is my second favorite album from them. I have that one on vinyl. Everything else from them I have on CD. So Passages into Deformity. It's a good place to start if you're new to Defeated Sanity. This one's a little more accessible sounding. It's not quite as raw. It's still got like super scooped mids and stuff, but this is probably their most cleanly produced album. It's also probably one of their grooviest. I mean, Verblendung, Naraka. Fuck, there's so much good shit on this album. They have the vocalist of Despondency on this album, which is cool. There's a DVD, and this was made in memory of Lille's dad, so rest in peace. But yeah, really great album, though. It's not my favorite from them. I don't listen to this one nearly as much, but nothing wrong with it at all, though, honestly. Great album. Initiation is such a cool album opener. Super fucking brutal. Yeah, this one is kind of where they found, like, the signature sound they've kind of had going since then, because everything... I don't know if I'd say everything, because they really only have one real full length after this, but like the newest album sounded like a continuation of what they started on here. Because this one is probably some of the least besides like Dharmata, this album is some of the least reminiscent of like late 90s brutal death metal. This one is a little more modern sounding. But yeah, Passages into Deformity. Then I have Disposal of the Dead / Dharmata. Not their best, but still really cool. I respect Dharmata for what it is. If you don't know, Dharmata is like a cynic style progressive death metal, and then the first half of this, Disposal of the Dead, is typical Defeated Sanity's flavor of brutal death metal. What's the song? Into the Soil. That song is really good. It's got a really good slam. And then there's the Dharmata artwork. But yeah, it's cool. Not the best, but it's good. And then the last thing I've got from Defeated Sanity is their newest full length, the Sanguinary Impetus. This is probably like my third favorite from them. I really like this album a lot. I mean, I even have a fucking flag right there. Love the artwork, although on the CD it's kind of hard to see, but on the flag it looks way better, honestly. There's the disc, all the teeth to the CD fell out. But yeah, this is easily their most technical release. Lille's best drum work, in my opinion. Fucking Phytodigestion, Imposed Corporeal Inhabitation, Insecta Incendium, Propelled into Sacrilege has a really cool riff. You know what, if you've heard that song before, you know what riff I'm talking about, because this whole song kind of builds up to it. But yeah, this is their most like progressive sounding besides like Dharmata, but that doesn't really count because that's kind of a one-off sort of deal. But as far as their regular albums go, this is probably the most progressive sounding. Their current vocalist is great. He sounds like fucking AJ Magana incarnate, and then more. Yeah, what can I say? This was easily my favorite album of last year. yeah, just great fucking release. So Defeated Sanity with the Sanguinary Impetus. Fuck, I'm gonna listen to this one later today. Put that aside. Alright, next up we've got, fuck, oh my god, I haven't even shown that much stuff and we're already like 20 minutes in, so I'll show like 2 more. So first up, Dehumanized, Prophecies Foretold. I don't know why I'm saying first up, but out of these last 2, this is the first. Great New York brutal death metal, kind of proto-slam. If you don't like slam because of the vocals, you'll probably like this, because this is basically just like the vocals on this are more regular death metal, kind of mids. But yeah, super beatdowny, very hardcore influenced. It's definitely one of my favorite New York brutal death metal albums. Doomed to Die. That song has a great riff with like a natural harmonic in it. It's so cool. Really hip-hoppy as well. Just super catchy stuff. Yeah, it's the type of shit that makes you want to dance. Fade into Obscurity, of course, is another classic track on here. But yeah, it's, you know, that really tough guy, hardcore kind of sound to it, really beatdowny, which I really like. Yeah, this shit has been a really big influence on my songwriting for Flesh Mangled as well. I've written a lot of those beatdowny sounding sort of riffs, which I kind of stole from this. But yeah, Dehumanized, Prophecies Foretold, love this one. Then last, you guys all fucking know this one, Deicide, Once Upon the Cross, classic old school death metal. I've got this self-titled and Serpents of the Light on vinyl. I really need to get Legion though. That's one of those albums that's like, I've needed it for a while, and it's definitely their best, but I don't know, I'm in no rush to get it because I know it's always going to be easy to get, at least on CD. On vinyl it's fucking hard to find, but this one is really good. It's kind of a step down from Legion, especially in terms of speed, but it's got some really beefy production, some of the best Morrisound production in my opinion. Like this, Tomb of the Mutilated, and Pierce from Within from Suffocation, those have like the best Morrisound production. Classic artwork. I think this is an original press. I remember I got this at Dark Realm Records over in Downey. If you don't know Dark Realm Records, legendary record store owned by Sadistic Intent. He was another really cool old school death metal band. But anyways, what's the song called? When Satan Rules His World. That song is just got some great like chuggy sort of riffs. But yeah, I don't know, early Deicide is really cool, and you can't go wrong with this one. So Deicide, Once Upon the Cross. But anyways, that's it for this video though. I guess we'll get to my what we showed in this video. What I showed in this video was like a lot of my favorite shit, but the stuff coming up next is like my like really favorite shit. So I'm looking forward to making the next part in this series. But yeah, that's it for this video though. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.